Welcome. This would be why spiritual experiences feel so real, even to the skeptical brain. So, there's a question, a quiet question that shows up for a lot of people once awakening begins. It says, is this real or am I imagining it? Not because they're cynical, it's just because the experiences feel too real to ignore and too strange to explain away. So, today I want to talk honestly about the science of spirituality, not to dismiss spiritual experience, not to reduce it, but to ground it, because grounding doesn't weaken spirituality, it actually stabilizes it. If you've ever felt a deep sense of presence, a sudden knowing, emotional release during meditation, or a feeling of connection that didn't come from logic, you're not broken and you're not delusional at all. Your brain is involved, your nervous system is involved, and that does not mean the experience is fake. So let's start here. The brain is not a truth detector, it's a meaning maker. Neuroscience shows us that the brain's primary job is survival, not ultimate truth. It filters reality, predicts outcomes, fills in gaps, and constantly asks one question: am I safe? When people enter spiritual states through meditation, prayer, awe, grief, love, or even exhaustion, the brain shifts out of its default mode. And the part of the brain that's associated with identity, time, and constant self talk quietens down. And that's why time dissolves. And that's why the sense of me versus the world softens. That's why people describe feeling connected, expanded, or held by something larger. Science can describe what happens in the brain during these moments. It cannot answer whether consciousness is generating the experience or tuning into something already present. That distinction matters because spirituality doesn't require rejecting science, but science also doesn't get to claim the final word on meaning. And here's why people get tripped up. They hear things like, this activates the temporal lobe, or this releases dopamine or oxytocin. This is just a neurological response. And they really assume that explanation replaces the experience, and it doesn't. Explaining the biology of love doesn't make love meaningless. Explaining how music affects the brain doesn't make the song less beautiful. The body is the interface, not the source. Now, here's where I'm going to be very clear because I don't sugarcoat this. Not every spiritual experience is wisdom. Some experiences are nervous system responses. Some are trauma, memory releasing, and some are patterns seeking during stress, loss, or transition. Pretending everything is divine guidance is how people lose discernment. Spiritual maturity isn't about chasing mystical moments. It's about learning to tell the difference between intuition, fear, memory, and meaning making. Science actually helps here. A regulated nervous system produces clear intuition. A dysregulated one produces urgency, obsession, and certainty without flexibility. If your guidance feels frantic, punishing, or identity erasing, that's not higher wisdom. That's your system asking for safety. Real insight tends to arrive quietly. It doesn't rush you and it doesn't threaten you. It doesn't demand belief. It leaves room for choice. This is why grounding matters and why embodiment matters, why rest matters. You don't become more spiritual by leaving your body. You become more trustworthy to yourself by inhabiting it. So when people ask, is spirituality just brain chemistry? My answer is simple. Your brain participates. That doesn't invalidate the experience, but how you interpret it it really determines whether it becomes wisdom or confusion. Spirituality without grounding becomes fantasy. Science without humility becomes reductionism, and the honest path lives in the middle. Trust your experiences and question your conclusions. Honor the mystery and stay anchored in your body. Allow all without outsourcing your authority. If you're awakening and you're scared you're making it up, hear this clearly. You are not broken for questioning. You are not weak for wanting clarity. And you are not less spiritual for needing grounding. You're just really integrating everything, and integration's not transcendence. It's where real clarity begins. I really thank you so much for sharing this space with me. Thank you.